everybody, it's Eric from EPautos.com, your libertarian car guy. The subject of HOV lanes came up the other day. HOV being the acronym that stands for High Occupancy Vehicle. And if you live in an urban area, you're probably familiar with these things. Essentially, they restrict certain lanes, certain roads to vehicles that have more than one occupant. Typically there'll be HOV2, meaning you got to have at least two people, or HOV3, you got to have three people in them. And the interesting thing about it is, at least to me, that we pay for the roads, right? We're told the roads are owned by the public. They're the public roads. And we pay for these roads every time we put gas into our vehicles. But because the government actually controls the roads, which means effectively that the government owns the roads, because if you control something, you own it. And if you don't control something, you obviously don't own it. Well, the government that controls the roads says, well, we're going to make you pay for the roads because you don't get a discount, do you, when you buy gasoline or diesel if you don't use the HOV lanes. You get to pay for the motor fuels taxes, but you're not allowed to use the HOV lanes. Very, very interesting. And then they say, well, we have to do this because of congestion. There's congestion on the roads. Well, it's analogous to a supermarket saying the way we're going to deal with the increased demand for the stuff that's on the shelves is to limit the number of people that can go into the stores. Of course, that's not what supermarkets do. What they do, if there's an increase in demand for the stuff that's on the shelves, is that they stock more stuff on the shelves. They increase the supply to meet the demand. And that's exactly what would happen if the roads weren't owned by the government, but instead were owned commonly and dictated by the market. And if there were a need for more roads, well, we're going to put another lane in. We're going to add capacity. But because it's the government that's involved, the government always necessarily screws things up, doesn't it? Every single time you end up with one size fits all. You end up with things that are more expensive, things that are more effronterous. That's an old word. I really like that word. And that's why we have these HOV lanes. Anyway, I thought that might be of interest. I might get a chance to talk more with that this evening with Garrett Goldsmith. I'm going to be on his podcast at 6 East. And there'll be a full-length article about this subject of HOV lanes up at EPautos tomorrow, so I hope you'll be able to stop by and check it out. And thanks as always for viewing, and we'll have more for you again soon.